Welcome back to the Rogue Matter podcast, Rogue Wave podcast. We talk everything Rogue Matter. You can go check out all our cool stuff. We've got free stuff every Wednesday, including this podcast. We got more podcasts. We got comic books, ebooks, videos. Go check it out. It's awesome. All right. One of my favorite segments to do is to look at a film, give it a review, give it a rogue reaction, give it a rogue reaction. We're not going to really review it. We're going to talk about it. And then talk a little bit about afterwards whether or not it lived up to the trailer. So part 1 of 2, Rogue Reaction, Jurassic World Dominion. I think my first question to you last week was, could I bring my 6-year-old son to the movie if I wanted to? I didn't, but and you know what? My first reaction to that after actually seeing it was, yeah, he would have been fine. He would have loved, by the way, spoilers, everybody. So spoiler centric reaction here. He would have loved the dinosaur battle at the end. Like, that would have been his favorite part. I know this for a fact. Like, if we walked out of the theater, he'd be like, "Oh, it was so cool." Because we have this book at home.
And now you've deprived him of that.
No, he gets to watch the movie. Just to watch it. But the T-Rex versus the whatever the dinosaur that was, the Kingosaur, whatever the heck they, But I got to tell you, having
Dupletopolis or whatever.
What's up with the Mothra one that
bigger
came in?
Than the Blastosaur. That's what that's what it's called.
Yeah, but what was up with like the Wolverine Freddy Krueger one? That one kind of came out of left field.
That was a hybrid one from the second one. But I don't know. But as they progress onward, right, the paleontology progresses onwards, and it more and more becomes apparent that dinosaurs were actually giant birds and not lizards.
They've been retconning them, though. You see that?
Yeah, of course. So everyone's been getting feathers, very slowly but surely. Feathers have been added to all the dinosaurs. So, it's fine. I'm all right with it. Yeah, I'm not trying to pronounce that, though, Aaron. That's why.
No, Gigantosaurus, that I think is exactly right. So it's funny, too, having, a 6-year-old son. 6 years old. He loves freaking dinosaurs. Like I think all 5, 6, and 7-year-olds just love dinosaurs, right? Like, it's just one of those things. You just go through this dinosaur phase as a kid. And so we've been reading nonstop dinosaur books. And so when they said that they had this other dinosaur come in, I was like, oh yeah, that's the one that I felt very learned. I was like, I knew what they were talking about. Yeah, Tyrannosaurus is not the biggest dinosaur and the most ferocious dinosaur. I don't think they lived together in the same period, but I'm sure we're not exactly riveting our audience with my paleontology talk, but I just thought that was kind of amusing. What was your reaction to the film? Or do you want my reaction first, and I'll tell you?
Your reaction.
Ambitious, right? Like, if I had to think of one word when I watched that film, ambitious came to mind. Didn't always land. Didn't always hit. There was a lot of plot there that, boy, they layered a lot on that cake they didn't need to, with the locusts
I see. That's what. I'll get to that when it's my turn.
With the locusts and the biosyn and like the Steve Jobs meets Elon Musk guy, the Asian scientist who they never actually kind of explain why they built the locusts and set them free. They just kind of they're like, oh, it was a mistake. Oops.
They kind of did. They sort of did, but
I mean, at the same time, you're sitting there going, why would they not? And then wouldn't they just like notify somebody? Like, it's like little things like that where you're like, I get why they didn't, because then they wouldn't have a movie, but they probably could have just gotten away with doing certain things where it would have been okay. But the reason I say ambitious, though, is this is the last movie in the trilogy, and this thing did 2 things really, really well. One, and the irony here is it's directed by Colin Trevorrow, who was supposed to direct Rise of Skywalker. I thought he actually did a nice job of merging the past with the present in terms of, having the old actors, Jeff Goldblum and company, Dr. Grant, all those people merging with the Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard cast, and kind of, creating something that worked well together, as opposed to, say, like Force Awakens, to where I thought I was literally watching 2 separate movies when we left Ray and Finn and introduced all the old characters. I almost thought it was like, wow, okay, this is a little too much, all at once. I thought he actually did a nice job of balancing the two. And so for that, I applaud him. But then the second thing I thought they did really well was this is supposed to be the last film of this trilogy with Chris Pratt and company. But they kind of set up a world, like a transmedia world, where they could have, it could almost be like Jurassic Park Presents and, Dubai. And it's like you have now dinosaurs living in the world now. And they have this dinosaur trade, and they have they've actually set up like a cool next movie, because I don't think you can do another Jurassic Park, or you have to wait 30 years to do another Jurassic Park, because it's the same story. You run the risk of becoming like a Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th or Halloween, where it's like, okay, it's the same story again. Michael Myers is going to chop people up. Okay, it's the same story again. Dinosaurs are going to chop people up, are going to eat people. It's going to go amok. It always does. But now what they've kind of done, having dinosaurs living in our world, I'm like, man, I could see a trilogy or some sort of maybe spin-off TV show, a Jurassic Park, kind of thing, Dinotopia. It could, to where it actually now it's okay. This is kind of a cool world they built. Again, the movie didn't quite stick all the landings necessarily, and it was a little overly complicated than it had to be, but good, good show. They did a nice job in terms of setting up what comes next in a way that, could be super interesting.
So you liked it then, basically. You enjoyed it. You had a good time.
Yeah, I did. And then also, I would say sometimes when you watch a movie, Doctor Strange is a good example, right? I remember watching Doctor Strange 2, and immediately I was like, wow, that was really, really cool. And I walked away, and then you have time to like kind of think about it more, and you're like, yeah, there was this problem. That wasn't that great. And my enjoyment for it, I still enjoyed it, but like, after further contemplation, I didn't enjoy it as much. I've actually found that I'm enjoying this more. I walked out of the theater going, all right, that was pretty good. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, that was actually pretty cool. Yeah, no, that was pretty well done. So yeah, I would give it in the win column for this one.
I don't understand the hysteria around this movie. It was really weird to me, especially like in lieu. It almost seems like because Top Gun was so unexpectedly well received and did such a phenomenal job, that everyone thought that their responsibility was to temper expectations for Jurassic World, or to like either temper expectations or just plain put it down as like, oh, the plot was kind of incoherent. It didn't make any sense. I'm like, have you seen the other Jurassic Park movies? I mean, basically, we shouldn't have made dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Is the theme of all 6 movies. We shouldn't have done this.
Yep.
And now we're dealing with the fact that we did this.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody cares about the plot of Jurassic Park. People cared about the plot of the book Jurassic Park.
Correct. The first one was very interesting. I mean,
nobody cares. Nobody cares why dinosaurs were there.
Right.
People want dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's all. Right? It's like years and years ago when Peter Jackson's King Kong came out, and someone said, "Oh, the movie's terrible." And I was like, "Why? What was wrong with it?" It's like, it was too long. It was too long. That's why the movie's bad. Is there any other reason why? Was it bad acting? Was there bad scenes? Was there bad music? Were the effects bad? It's like, nah, it was just too long. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but there's an 18-foot gorilla that drop kicks a Tyrannosaurus Rex in this movie. Right. Where's the boy in you? Like, that's all I wanted to see. And this is full on dinosaurs chasing people on motorcycles and dinosaurs, creeping up on people in swamps. One dinosaur actually does a finger flick towards a deer. Finger flicks a deer. I mean, I don't see, you don't see the downside. And clearly the box office doesn't see the issue either.
No.
It did extremely well.
Killed it, yeah.
But everyone was like, oh, this is it's got the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score for the franchise. It's set up to be the lowest opening of the franchise. Like, no, everybody, pundits, shut up. It's dinosaurs. Yeah. It's just dinosaurs, okay? The same with King Kong versus Godzilla. People like the giant monsters. It's very easy. You take your kids to see it. Everybody sits down. You watch
Yeah.
one giant thing hit another giant thing.
Yeah.
You go ooh and ah, eat popcorn, you go home. Nobody
Yeah.
cares about the plot. Nobody cares about the plot.
Well,
Now,
you want the plot to be
nobody cares. Nobody
good.
cares.
You want it to be entertaining. Well, no,
No,
because
you
I
don't
think
care.
I think in the original franchise, like 2 and 3, it wasn't as riveting. The idea of just having dinosaurs on screen wasn't enough back then, or else the franchise would have continued.
No, it was enough because those 2 movies were $100 million movies at a time where $100 million movie was not a common thing. Those 2 movies were very successful.
Let's see.
Anyway,
Part 2.
as pertains to the plot, though, the plot's not that complicated. I don't understand why people saying the plot was overcooked.
It was overcooked.
They made giant locusts so that they controlled of this and that of the world, commerce, the food, or whatever. They misunderstood in the genetic makeup of those, so they got loose. It's the same problem with the Jurassic Park. It's the same plot, and now they have to figure out a way to get control of the locusts. Meantime,
so here's
people
here's
on the outside who are like, "Hey, there's giant locusts out here. We should go find out why there's giant locusts all of a sudden." And
Here was my problem with that, and I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the one thing about that, and this is where I do side with the idea that it was overly complicated. Didn't need to be. It didn't eat the biosin seed, and then so you sat there going. Well, part of me went, boy, how easy to make yourself a mark for the FBI or the CIA or some sort of law enforcement when you make something that doesn't eat your crops. Like, it's one of those obvious things where you're like, okay, but that turned out not to be the case. It had nothing to do with it, almost, in a sense.
That's what I'm talking about. Look, it's in keeping. It's bad. The plots are bad.
Yeah,
but they're all bad. There's always bad. Like science messed up, and now humans are paying for it. That's the plot of all 6 movies.
Right.
My point isn't that the plot's bad. My point is that people are like, the plot's overcooked. It's like, it's the same plot. It's the same. Right. It's the same plot. And the only thing you want to do is have it so that all these parties converge in this one place so that they can meet and have that weird, what would you call it? Guardians of the Galaxy ensemble cast at the end trying to run away from a giant dinosaur.
It also had the scientist who was like, I need to find the clone because she's the key for me to reversing this.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because they want clones.
It's the same plot. That's what I'm trying to say. It's and it's only one plot. That's the only one thing.
No, agreed. But it's not executed. It's not executed as
we're not talking about.
I am. I'm just saying that's why people would say it's over.
Michael, I was saying I'm not talking about the execution. I already copped to it. The fact that it was poorly executed.
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't agree with the assertion that the plot was overcooked. That's what I'm saying. I think that is a misrepresentation of it. I don't think it was overly complicated. I don't think it was an overly complicated movie by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
There are dinosaurs. The dinosaurs are loose. People are trying to figure out what to do about dinosaurs being loose. Meantime, there's giant locusts. That's a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Let's go find out where the giant locusts came from. That's the whole movie.
All right. What do you guys think? What is your reaction to Jurassic World Dominion? And when we come back, we're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, we're going to do one of my favorite segments. We'll do a little trailer, truth or trash. Did it live up to the trailer? Hi guys, Mike Dolce here from the Rogue Wav podcast. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It really helps us out. Leave a comment, let us know what you'd like to see in future episodes, and tune in every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern for a brand new episode of the Rogue Wav podcast.